Hi, everyone. Welcome to Armchair Analysts podcast, episode number 33, coming at you from Minnesota, Wisconsin alike. I am one half of the co-host duo, Ace. Joining me as always is...
Johnny from Madison. And today, actually tomorrow, we can say tomorrow is NFL football. And I'm so excited.
Is it tomorrow or Thursday?
It's Thursday, but I'm saying tomorrow we can say tomorrow is football. Very
Gotcha.
confusing. So sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's cool. So we've got a lot of things in the works. We've been talking to a lot of other sports podcasts, trying to see if we can do some collaboration. We got some new interviews coming up that we're excited to share with you guys. So again, any feedback we can get is awesome. Easiest way to do that is hit us up on Twitter at AA Podcasts. We've got some fun things in the works in the next few weeks, so really excited. I don't know. Should we just dive in? We got a lot to cover today.
Yeah, I was going to say, kick us off with the rundown. What can we look forward to?
Word. All right, so we're going to start with my random rant. As always, Regional Roundup. We got some fun things and some not so fun things. We have a nice interview that Mr. Ace had earlier today. We have the Soundbite of the Week. Our tee-off topic, which is pretty obvious, Vikings-Packers, Week 1 matchup. And we wrap it up with Ace's Quick Six. So, without further ado, my random rant this week. So, this is, as most of mine are, there's some sort of personal feeling, there's some sort of personal motivation behind these, or just general things that I notice. But this one that's really starting to get to me, it's tech resellers. So I've been trying to acquire a Nintendo Switch for the better part of the last 3 months, but it's so bad. Like, you go to any eBay, Facebook Marketplace, or what have you, everything is just so ridiculously marked up, and some of them even have the stones to post a picture of their 10 Nintendo Switches that they have for sale, as they sell them one by one for $400+. Yeah. So... Nintendo, I understand there was COVID this year, supply and demand. I understand economics. I'm not an idiot. But at the same time, it's just the people that do this COVID, or, whenever there's even not an increased demand just because of, manufacturing shortages. I remember numerous times I'm trying to build a computer that people would just buy everything out and just literally just resell it. Like, you're not using it. It's just sitting there gathering dust until it's resold. And you know what? Every once in a while, if you need something so bad that you're willing to do it, it's great that you're able to get it, but at the same time, like, you're supporting the people that do this, and it's just, it's not necessarily unethical, so to speak. I just think it's a dick move.
I was waiting for like one of those sort of backhand.
It's not illegal. Like, you can definitely do it if you want to buy 15 Nintendo Switches and sell them for $100+ markup. That you're allowed to do that, but
yeah, damn,
man,
this is a great topic.
Yeah, well, I did spend a lot. I stayed up all night thinking of it for you. So, so moving right along, Regional Roundup, Wisconsin side. And this is, again, unfortunately, this is part of the problem with a timely podcast. Giannis was announced out for Game 5. The game is actually underway now, which is why I want to try to get through this episode so I can go watch the second half. But it's, you know what, it was a gritty performance. Chris Middleton,
yeah,
I was watching
the third.
Well, fourth and OT too. It wasn't, he literally had to carry them the whole rest of the game because nobody could put up a shot. Even Blake just looked abysmal, but my girlfriend was watching the game with me, and she was just confused as to why no one was even doing anything. I'm like, well, it's pretty much the Middleton show. Like, if he doesn't make a bucket, then they don't score, pretty much, it feels like. So, but yeah, it's Game 5, and don't really want to talk about it. Well, that's the thing. It's like they literally took Giannis to treatment right away, because I'm 90% sure they knew right away, like, okay, he's not going to be able to come back, but we want to try to do everything we can to get him back in for Game 5. So, he wasn't even on the sideline for the second half in OT, so while that would have been a nice morale boost, they're in the situation they're in for a reason. Like, there's no bigger motivator than your championship run is going to end. So,
good point.
I'm trying not to peek at the score right now because I don't want to get agitated, but we'll see how it turns out. We'll chat about it next week, and obviously the implications following that with Giannis and his contract. But another story, if you're following on Twitter, you already saw this, or you pay attention to the news at all, you also have seen this. American Family released the new logo for the American Family Field, and you got a peek at it, Ace. What'd you think?
I mean, honestly, I like the color scheme mainly because it's our logo colors. For sure, I think that helps.
Don't confuse the listeners now, Ace. You're a Twins fan.
No, you're right. I know that. I got to stick loyal to them at the same time too.
Ace and I went to school in Milwaukee together, so he's kind of like a pocket Brewer fan too. So that's why he said that.
I love the old school look. The color scheme is totally.
It is just so. I could have made this, dude. I could have made this in Microsoft Paint. Yeah. It is. There, I understand like keeping it simple, blah blah blah. Like people are already up in arms about this, but especially the fact that it was the 50th anniversary and we didn't get to go into the Miller Park for the last year that is Miller Park.
Oh God, yeah.
So, and then all of a sudden we're getting this thrust upon us, and I don't know, man. I just think it looks real. The thing is, it's like the American Family Insurance, like their logo is very simple. So I know that they kind of wanted to play off that, and they did it kind of a cutesy way, but it just looks so boring.
They also have. Did you see some of these other variations, like a full barrel man and a partial barrel man? Where are they going to use those on?
I mean, they're going to have a lot of marketing materials. They're going to have a lot of different things that they're going to need. They at least need to have concepts ready because I mean the MLB regular season's like almost over. So it's they have to start implementing this stuff and getting the stuff designed, printed, and start the new. I mean, because I don't know when the contract. Is it really at the first of the year? I think So literally Jan 1 of 2021, they have to have everything ready to go. And I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Brewers marketing team, but they are very aggressive and they will get all of that shit in your face ASAP. So I think they're just trying to get everything kind of covered and finalized and then, get it out. But yeah, we got to look at it. But bigger news. So there's an article today that politicians from 6 different states sent letters urging the Big Ten officials to recall the decision to postpone the season to the spring. I mean, this is after last week we were talking about how Trump talked to the Big Ten commish and how parents have been protesting. We got weeks and weeks of just elevated calls to action for the Big Ten commissioner and committee. So,
and I'm gonna guess, no surprise, but I'm sure Ohio. Okay, so I have the 6. It looks like Iowa, Minnesota, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and Michigan.
So literally every team that matters. Plus, plus Nebraska. Sorry, Husker fans. No, that's kind of the ones I assume because those are the schools that have the most to lose. It's the most, they're gonna have the most financial impact behind it. They're gonna have, the players themselves. They're gonna have the biggest disadvantage now if they don't play. So I mean, it makes sense. I get it. But I mean, they're really just kind of putting a foot on the throat, saying, "Okay, it's time. Like you guys, we need to do stuff. We need to make it happen."
Yeah, and the Pac-12 actually today released, or it was last week, I guess, but rapid testing too, something that takes 15 to 30, basically what the White House has been using. So it's weird that the Big Ten hasn't announced something similar if they're trying to kind of stay in the same lane with all of this.
I'm just gonna go on a limb and I'm gonna say this is gonna keep escalating. So this has been multiple weeks since every week since this decision was made by the Big Ten. It's been getting progressively more WTF. Like, what are you doing? And now that, I don't know if you paid attention, but this last weekend, over the holiday, there was numerous college football games. You know, so as it gets starting, once other teams start playing, and people get more into it, there's no way that they're going to back down. Like, if it was this bad before football started, man, it ain't going away.
There's already too many protests.
Oh, no, it's 2020. It's going until the year ends, or it's too cold to go outside. We'll see which one comes first. The last thing I wanted to touch before you do your Minnesota half is, I mean, technically, we can share this. Adrian Peterson got signed by the Lions. as someone who has frequent nightmares and flashbacks to Peterson running all over my defense for the Packers, I can say that I'm not happy to have him back in the division. And
yeah,
I mean, he's a phenomenal player, right? Like generational talent. Odd situation that led to his getting cut from the Vikings. It doesn't really matter which way you stand on it. His career got really derailed after that point. But still, like when he came back from that ACL tear and was better than ever, I mean, you can't not. I don't, even if he was doing some things maybe he wasn't supposed to be doing to heal. Like still, that's insane, unheard of at the time. Even now, it's still insane. But
they're gonna pound him for everything too.
Well, they do. They have Swift now. Kerryon Johnson's coming back, so they have talent. So he's not. It's gonna be a similar. I would say probably a lesser role than he had in Washington. But you got to remember, every running back that goes to the Lions ends up being a phenomenal talent, then getting hurt, and then getting cut. So we'll maybe he'll be a starter by like week 4. I mean,
or retires before their prime is over.
After one game, maybe we'll see. Or what was that? The cornerback that retired on the Bills at halftime? Maybe. The Lions seem to do that to their talent, so you never know. But I'm sure he's excited to get another shot. Getting cut by Washington football team is never a great sign of your career. No. Clinton Dix can attest to that. But why don't you wrap it up here, and then we'll get into our big fun today.
Yeah. So the big news, at least the
big
on the Minnesota side, was Matt Dumba, the Wild defenseman. Minnesota Wild defenseman won awarded the King Clancy Memorial Trophy, given to the NHL player who best exemplifies leadership qualities on and off the ice. And he's made a significant humanitarian contributions to not only Black Lives Matters, but just the youth within our area as well. And so it's good to see somebody regionally take home this award, especially with all that's going on. This is a good year for Minnesota amongst all this chaos that kind of started. The Twins are hot. The Wild, I know, didn't play the end how they wanted to, but there's always been the trophy here, the news around the Twins. There's some good vibes going on, I think, right now. So it's good to see awards given out on behalf of the players and all the good that they do.
After so many years in the cellar, I think you got to take your wins so you can get them, right? When the Vikings win a playoff game and they literally call it a miracle, I mean, you gotta take what you can, right?
Oh, jeez, you waited a long time to bring that up.
I'm just getting ready, baby. I'm just getting ready. Wait till we get to our tee-off topic. All right. Also, not necessarily regional news, but very noteworthy. The Broncos, the Colorado governor, actually announced today that there are going to be 5,700 people allowed to attend a game at the end of September versus the Bucks, September 27th, actually. So that's the first confirmation that we have that a physical number or an actual number has been released. Yeah. Typically, we've always been dabbling like, oh, well, we're not for the first couple games or not for September. Like, they actually gave us a number. They actually said, hey, this is what's happening, so we're going to do. What all the chaos that'll ensue that we've talked about for weeks about how being resellers, how topical is that? People buying a handful of tickets, like, all right, $1,000 a piece, who wants them? Only 5,000 people can get in. Figure it out. Yeah. So that's season ticket holders. Obviously, that probably doesn't even cover like a good chunk of them, but yeah, it'll be fun. Now that we have confirmation that there's gonna be people playing, there's gonna be a lot of pressure for the dominoes to continue falling. So good news for NFL fans everywhere, and for sports everywhere. It's nice just to know that fans, not only being able to watch it, but to be able to attend the game too, just because of the atmosphere. And that sets up something for Mr. Ace. Didn't you talk with someone and have a conversation about fan attendance by chance?
Yes, I had a great conversation with Sean Aronson, the vice president and actually the broadcaster for the St. Paul Saints.
Whoa!
I got to talk with him. Yeah. He's got a kind of a long title, but he's the broadcaster for them, which is TV broadcaster, though. Which is awesome. Yeah. So we get a chance to speak with him, or I got a chance to speak with him earlier today. And among all the topics, obviously the most important was COVID and how things are going on, and obviously being back home in St. Paul, they're able to have fans in the stands. So let's take a listen.
There
Hey,
you go.
Sean.
Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Oh, nice. You have an official setup. I like it.
As a broadcaster, if you don't have a microphone for Zoom meetings or whatever, you're doing it wrong. So
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I guess a little background on us before I kind of dive in. So, Armchair Analysts podcast, we started this, a friend of mine from college. We started this in January of this year, actually. And the idea is that we kind of felt there wasn't, I mean, you have Barrero, you have Paul Allen, some of those guys on the radio, but there's nothing really that kind of dives in a little bit deeper to more the local topics, even talking high school from now and then, or every now and then. But mainly it was kind of our idea to bridge the gap between what we heard, kind of the lack of what we've heard on the radio.
Sure.
Across our areas. My colleague lives in Madison. But yeah, so we do this. It's sort of like a part-time thing that we're hoping to take off, later on because we both have full-time jobs right now. So yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
But nonetheless, obviously, I appreciate you joining me kind of on short notice here. I'm just gonna kind of kick it off generally with your background. How'd you get involved with the Saints, and what drew you to broadcasting, and just overall the title that you have right now is, I guess, VP of Media Relations.
Yeah, so I've been with the Saints this is my 14th season, minor league baseball for 20 years. Prior to my time with St. Paul, I was in Fort Myers with the Fort Myers Miracle, the Twins single A affiliate down there where they hold spring training. Was doing the exact same thing down there as I'm doing here, media relations and broadcasting. At the time, the ownership group that owns the Saints owned the Miracle. My predecessor was Chris Atterbury here, who's now doing the Twins pre and post and fill-in work. And so when he got that job, it opened up the position here, and the organization decided they were going to hire from within. So at the time, I think they owned 5 or 6 other teams, and one of those media relations broadcasters was going to get this job. And spoiler alert, I got the job and have not left it in 14 years. So here I am.
That's awesome. Yeah. So how is that calling a game now, especially, well, let's kind of start, I guess, backtracking.
Yeah.
So obviously the big goal here to discuss is the pandemic and everything that's kind of ensued since. How was it when you first got the news that the governor shut things down on March, I think it was March 16th?
Yeah, look, everything was up in the air, not just us, but obviously everybody out there wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I think our first thought really wasn't, are we going to play? I think that would be naive and unfair of us to say, well, what about us over here? Can we play? I think first and foremost was the health and safety of everybody that works for our organization, and in a broader sense, the health and safety of the country. And then as things started to move along and the governor started to go through phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3, we started to do some events here at the ballpark within the scope of that 250 people. We were doing movie nights here on Friday nights, movie and fireworks nights. We did a pop-up cafe here where we served lunch, so restaurants were open, and we used the outdoor concourse to open things up. So we proved to the state that we could hold these smaller events, and they were keeping an eye on us, and we were having a conversation with the task force, that was in charge of either events or just opening things up that the governor had put together. And then word came down probably about a week before we actually opened that we would be able to open up our ballpark with very strict rules that we have abided by, and that I think have worked really well. And I can go through those if you really want me to.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've heard about the movie night and kind of the fun things that you do, which helps. But obviously, getting the guys on the field is utmost importance.
So and to backtrack a little bit, we were playing in Sioux Falls. So the season started on July 3rd, and we used Sioux Falls as our home hub. South Dakota was allowing fans, in the ballparks. So we were playing in Sioux Falls, in front of fans. We would be the home team sometimes. It was an interesting dynamic, and the team in Sioux Falls did a great job welcoming us and opening up the ballpark for us, and they really did a fantastic job. When we were able to come back home, we were capped at, and we still are, capped at 1,500 fans.
Mm-hmm.
We had to have 6 different areas that each housed no more than 250 people. So you do the quick math, 6 times 250, there's your 1,500 people. Each area has to have their own entrance and their own exit. So the same entrance you came in is the same gate that you'll exit through. You have to have your own concession stand. You have to have your own restroom, and you cannot walk around the concourse of the ballpark. So you're confined to whatever your area is. And roughly every area is made up of 3 sections. So 3 sections, one area, then we have an empty section, and then the next area, an empty section, and then another area goes all the way around the ballpark that way. So there's enough room for people within every section. Usually what we wind up doing is, let's say the first row has groups of seats on the end of that row. The row behind them just has a group of seats in the middle, and then the ends, the middle, the ends, the middle. So it just goes like that, so that you're 6 feet away from people that are not in your group on either side of you and behind you as well. And it's worked out extraordinarily well. Masks are required when you walk into the ballpark. We take your temperature as you come into the ballpark. We encourage masks when you're sitting, but it is not required when you're sitting. So, but everywhere else you have to wear a mask. As far as the players go, they're tested regularly, about once a week. They are tested. The league has hammered home masks being required if you're not on the field of play.
Is it the same nasal too? I'm guessing they're kind of going through what other, what the average person.
Yep, correct. Yeah. Yep. So, yep, the common testing that you see from everybody. Yep. So that is that's all a part of it. And knock on wood, we have not had anyone test positive all season long. So that's been awesome. Fortunate. And I've been with these guys since the beginning. So I lived in Sioux Falls for a month out of a hotel. The few times that we do have, road trips, because we did. I mean, we were housed out of Sioux Falls, but you played your hub mate, which was the Sioux Falls Canaries, a total of 24 times. So 24 of your 60 games were against them. Wow. And then the rest of them would be either in your home hub, where you're the home team, or you travel to one of the other hubs, which at the beginning was Fargo and then Milwaukee. Milwaukee and Chicago shared a hub. Fargo and Winnipeg shared a hub. So there were only 3 hubs. That quickly went away because Chicago, before the season even started, was allowed to go back home and play in their home ballpark. And then halfway through the season, we were allowed to come back home. Winnipeg was never allowed to go back into Canada. And so they've been using Fargo as their home hub since the beginning. So the times that you travel on the bus, you have to wear a mask on the bus. Not allowed to take it off. And again, it's, look, is there a perfect scenario out there that this league could do? Probably not. Like, we can't be the NBA and all of a sudden create some sort of, like, we just don't have that kind of money to be able to do. But
and same league, with the like, how many players on the roster too? It's almost double.
23. Yeah, 23 guys. Yeah, so it's a little more than
the NBA roster.
NBA, but I think what the league has done has been fantastic. Now, the commissioner will tell you he won't celebrate till the season is officially over. Season officially ends Thursday, then the playoffs. So you're looking at another week and a half before he'll feel pretty good. And look, that's not to say there have been no positive tests. That is not true. And there have been some teams that have had a positive test or two here or there, and those guys are immediately removed, quarantined. That the team is retested to make sure that nobody has, a test positive. So they've taken the measures when something does happen. And again, 98% of the way through this season, we're pretty much, we've done a very good job.
Yeah, I was going to say that is coming to an end soon. And I know I've had a couple of friends that have been season ticket holders for the Saints for a while now. And I know they haven't gone to the games, but others that have gone too, they said they loved receiving, I think, the day of, the text messages about parking, kind of all that logistics stuff just to get in has been huge.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that we wanted. We wanted to be as transparent as possible. So when you purchased a ticket, you now receive an email that says, here is your entrance. You can't enter anywhere else. here's the best parking place based upon your entrance. And then when you get into the ballpark, here are the rules within the ballpark. You can't leave your area. You have your own concession stand, your own bathroom, mask required, all that sort of stuff. So there is no confusion whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard exactly what you just said from people. They've appreciated that. That has gone a long way with people, that sort of customer service side of things for people. They really have appreciated that side of things.
Mm-hmm. What about, so I've always, especially when I've gone in years past, I know you guys really predicate yourselves on having a strong in-game kind of fan experience, entertainment wise. Have you shifted a lot of those people's roles, or how has that kind of evolved to keep, the average fan? Obviously, if they're there to watch baseball, they're, that's the primary point. But
like our usher tainers, which for people that don't know, they're actors and actresses that create characters that interact with our fans. They're still a part of what we do. They've just been doing it at a distance. So whereas they might go into the crowd and have a conversation or take photos or create a little skit or whatever they're going to do, they have to do that now from a distance. So they don't go into rows. They don't sit next to people. They don't sit on people's laps. They don't Gert the flirt who gives a kiss on people's cheeks and leaves the lipstick mark. Like there is none of that anymore. But again, they're still able to interact. The on-field promotions have had to be adjusted a little bit as well. So we're still doing those, but they've had to be adjusted. We've had to get rid of some of the costumes that fans are asked to put on and wear just because you can't clean those and on a regular basis. So there have been some things that have been adjusted, but we've done as best as we can to provide the entertainment side of things under the parameters of health and safety.
So I know MLB has sort of adopted a different set of rules in regards to obviously not having coaches arguing, the shortened innings. They're now playing double headers that are 7 innings. Are there anything that you guys have done as a league that maybe you'll take forward moving, once obviously seasons can kind of more regularly get underway?
Yeah, I forget who it was. Someone tweeted out that Major League Baseball is now going to go to sandlot rules of 7-inning doubleheaders, and I'm like, minor league baseball has been playing 7-inning doubleheaders for as long as they can remember. AAA, AA, single A, independent ball, they've all been playing. So these guys grew up playing 7-inning doubleheaders. It's not until you get to the major leagues that you're playing 9 innings. So these guys are used to that. I would argue the players would rather prefer playing 7-inning doubleheaders. I don't know if Major League Baseball is going to do that or not, but for us, no, the only thing has been the arguing side of things. That managers are not allowed to cross the white line to argue. So you can't bolt out to the second base umpire and have an argument. You are immediately ejected and fined on the spot. Now you can go out and you can discuss a call with an umpire, like a rules call, something like that. And you can obviously yell from the dugout, which a lot that has happened, numerous times. But you're not allowed to cross that white line. So basically, the home plate umpire is the guy that you can talk to, and you can take a few steps out of the dugout and whatever, but you can't get into an umpire's face anymore. It's immediate grounds for ejection. I believe it's a suspension as well, along with a fine.
Okay. Looks okay. I got a couple more questions left for you. One's a sort of a softball one. What's the best part about your job?
Best part of my job is on most nights, 7:05 when I put the headset on. It's the only time that nobody's in your ear telling you what to say, telling you what to do. You're not worrying about a million other things. It's you in the game of baseball. That's what I got into this business 20 years ago for is to be able to do that. And I love that side. I was joking earlier in the year, we were in Sioux Falls, so I didn't have to answer ticket calls. I didn't have to worry about if it rained to pull tarp. I didn't have to worry about prepping the ballpark. And I sent a post on Twitter. I was like, now I know what a Major League Baseball broadcaster feels like. This is all they do. They concentrate on broadcasting. That's all. That's it. And it felt great. And I wasn't tired every day. I wasn't, you're still working long hours, but you're sitting in a hotel room and don't have to worry about the minutia of everything else. So that was great. Having said that, you still miss home, right? You still miss being here. So it was great to get back. But that is my favorite part, the broadcast, the intimacy of you and the viewer or the listener, and bringing the game to them.
That's great insight too, in terms of detail, like what you're actually involved with, sort of on a day to day,
Look,
and
people
just
have no idea. I get people all the
yeah.
time that think I show up to the ballpark like an hour before game time and then throw a headset on. They have zero idea. Like I legitimately, and I don't want anyone to feel bad for me because I love my job and this is all a part of it. I'm legitimately working 15-hour days during the season with
Oh
uh,
wow.
home or road. It doesn't matter. Like I hold the same schedule on the road as I do at home. And the only days off you get are days that you're not playing, but I'm usually working from home on those days. So the work doesn't stop. I'm just not at the ballpark.
Hmm.
But again, this is what you sign up for.
Yep.
But people don't know. And then nor should they, right? Like all they care about is if you're a fan that when they come to the ballpark they're having a good time, and that's our job. Or if you're tuning into a broadcast that I'm bringing them the game, I'm providing the information, I'm providing good stories, I'm making them feel a part of what's going on. That's my job. They shouldn't know everything else. Um, but over the course of 14 years with the Saints, I've let fans during the broadcast in on a lot of different things because for me, it's that relationship and that bond that we have. So if there are other things going on in the Saints office or something crazy happened during the day, I'm going to bring it up. And that's just my style of a broadcast. I'm fairly transparent, and I want people to know and almost pull the curtain back a little bit so they get things that you wouldn't otherwise get.
Hmm. Interesting. I like the transparency too,
Yeah,
because it seems like it kind of reflects around the whole leadership as, an entity, which is awesome.
for sure.
We need more of that in corporations.
Yeah, right. I just look when you're a broadcaster, you're usually the voice of the team, right? You're the one that
Yeah.
people tune into to find out what's going on,
Hmm.
and that's our job. And everybody's got their own style how they do it. I'm never going to tell anyone how to broadcast or what they should say or not say. This is just who I am. I'm very sarcastic. I'm very off the cuff. And that's how I am in you know real life here, if you will, and I don't
Hmm.
change that when I go onto a broadcast. I'm the same exact guy. I was taught that a long time ago that you shouldn't be anyone different when a microphone is put in front of you
Yep.
than you are if there was no microphone there. And I've carried that. And again, is everybody going to like that? No. I mean, not everybody likes me when I'm away from the microphone. I can be a lot to take at times, but I'm not gonna lie or fake it to fans so that I'm somebody else. I would never do that.
Oh, okay. Last question, one I
Yeah,
just thought of based off this.
yeah.
Who is your favorite play to watch on the Saints?
My favorite player?
To watch it, yeah. Current
Uh,
roster. Because I know they've
current
had some good players over the years.
Yeah, on the current raw man, that's a good question. There are two guys. Well, first of all, let me say I'll give you an actual answer. I'll give you the political answer first. I love watching all these guys, right? Like these guys all have a story, and
Hmm.
their story is not to be with the St. Paul Saints, right? Their story is to catch on with an affiliated team, and so I love that side of things. That these are the guys that teams cast away, and I root for the underdog. And you could look at each and every one of these guys as an underdog. I'll give you two hitters and one pitcher that I maybe root for a little bit more. Uh, Mikey Reynolds, who is our center fielder, and Josh Allen, who's our second baseman. Josh broke his finger 2 weeks ago, so he's done for the season. Uh, but both Josh Allen was one of the best second basemen in this league, and Mikey Reynolds is one of the best outfielders in this league. And I root for both of those guys because they're short. I'm five
Oh,
five.
nice.
I'm
Okay.
5'5", and I can relate to those guys, right? And they're not. I think Josh is listed at like five. I don't know, 5'10", maybe 5'9". I don't know. And I
You'll
mean,
walk you'll
I'm,
walk past him and it's not.
yeah. I mean, whatever. I always say listed as maybe he's 5'7". In real life, and Mikey again is not much taller than that. But I root for those guys because I know like how shorter guys are perceived, and so
Hmm.
like I'm like, you hit 330 in this league and shut everybody up because they don't think that guys that are shorter can do anything. So those two guys are guys that I root for on the offensive side. Mike Devine, who is a three quarters, arm slot type pitcher, has never ever gotten a chance with an affiliated ball club, and has basically, I don't even want to say resurrected his career because he was one of the best relievers in this league the last 3 or 4 years. He became a starter this year, and it's the first time in like 5 years he's become a starter. He is second in the league in ERA. He leads the league in strikeouts. At the moment, he leads the league in innings pitched. He has struck out 13 guys in back-to-back starts. The franchise record is
Oh, wow.
14. So both times he had the opportunity to set the franchise record and just ran out of gas towards the end. But again, his story is so great that here's a guy that's never seen the light of day with affiliated ball, was a reliever for the longest time, wasn't a closer. So, those guys, he doesn't throw hard. He tops out at like 91, but the 3/4 arm angle gets his slider to move about 8 inches. And he has just done the job this year. And I'm like, that's a guy you can, and that he's a super nice guy. But that's someone that you root for because they're changing the way people perceive him, and I love watching it.
One of the guys that I actually got lessons from growing up was, I think it was Lamar Rogers.
Oh yeah, he was our hitting coach.
Yeah, for a while.
He played for us, but was our hitting coach when I got here in 2007. He was the hitting coach for the Saints.
Yeah, I had a pretty good relationship with him when I was growing up in middle school, high school, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, that was another guy that probably wasn't all that tall.
No,
I think I was taller than it. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't. But again, those are the guys I root for because I know what it's like.
Mm-hmm.
It's again the way people perceive you when you're shorter, and they just, I guess, literally and figuratively, they overlook you. It's and that's just the way it is. And so I genuinely root for people like that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I was in Fort Myers and even on the Twins roster. So, when they would be there for spring training and you could see the guys that just weren't as talented, or even guys that were with us in Fort Myers. And I was like, they're not high priced guys that, they're 25th round draft picks or whatever. And I rooted for them. And my two favorite players in Fort Myers were Tommy Watkins, who's now, what is he?
I've heard,
first base coach or whatever he is for the Twins now.
Yeah.
But he made it to the major leagues. And number one, he was the nicest guy ever. Nicest guy. And I promise you, like, he made the major leagues on grit and determination, and because he was such a nice guy. Really was just a super nice guy. I hadn't seen Tommy in, man, I don't know, 13, 14 years. Whenever he was in Fort Myers last, we were at Target Field last year when we won the championship and the Twins honored us. And there's Tommy Watkins, and I didn't even see him. And he's like, "Hey, Sean." And I turned around, and again, I hadn't seen him in 14 years, but he remembered my name and just said, "Hi, congratulations." And like, those are guys, seriously, those are guys that you root for. Those are guys that you really, really do root for. So.
That's, well said, and actually probably a good way to wrap things up. That was that was very insightful, all of this, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
We record today,
Okay.
Tuesdays, and it'll be released I'll usually get it up on Friday.
Okay.
Friday morning. So do you have Twitter? I guess I could just tag you or something.
Yeah, so my Twitter handle is The Voice BTV. The Voice BTV.
I had to write this. Okay.
Yeah, so for the longest time, and I had to stop it, but I did a podcast called The Voice Behind the Voice, and it's me sitting down with play-by-play broadcasters who've reached the pinnacle of the profession. So I've interviewed in person. All these are done in person. So I interviewed everyone from Joe Buck to Sean McDonough to Doc Emmerich to guys that do the play-by-play for the teams as well. So, and there's like 196 episodes, I think it is. But because I couldn't do these in person anymore, and I when I started this, I said I'll only do these in person. But because you can't do that anymore, and these teams don't come through town anymore, I stopped it in March or whatever it was. And I may pick it back up again once the world returns to normal.
You should.
But I wanted to tell the story because everybody knows the broadcasters as, the person that brings you the play-by-play, right? But how much do they really know about who these people are? And so I would sit down and chat with these play-by-play broadcasters about their lives and their careers and how they got to where they were. And it was a lot of fun meeting all of them. I mean, they were all super nice. There wasn't a jerk in the bunch. Now they may have been a jerk after they got done with me, but they all gave me their time. They really were fantastic people.
The voice behind the voice.
Yeah.
Where can they find that on YouTube? Or
Yeah,
where can
it should still be on iTunes and everywhere where you get your. Yeah, I haven't pulled it down. It's still up
Okay.
there.
Wow. Yeah, you absolutely should keep that going because that
Yeah,
sounds interesting.
yeah, and it's a lot of work on my end because I do a lot of research on each of these guys. Like, I mean, I go online and I try to find newspaper articles and whatever. It's not just like, so tell me how you got started and where did you grow up. Like, I literally find these stories that I find interesting, and then we talk about them. And that's the great thing about podcasts is they're long form. You can do that, and they, most of them are about 45 minutes to an hour long. I mean, there's some that went a little longer, but yeah, it's just the last one that I did, the last one I posted was Kenny Albert, who does NFL and NHL and Rangers and all that.
Yeah.
And he was really nice, super nice guy. So yeah, so yeah.
Wow, that works out well.
Yeah,
It's kind of like Graham Bensinger's. If you've heard of that guy, Bensinger. He's got that sort of same interview style where he actually goes, meets the person, usually at their homes or something, but it's not so much broadcast, it's kind of more focused on the athlete themselves, but similar concept. So
yeah, it's just it was a lot of fun to do, and again, it's unfortunate that all this went down. That now you can't do it. And look, I don't mind doing things like this, and I could do this, but for me, especially when you're doing a one-on-one where you're trying to get to know somebody, I found I got more out of them sitting across from them than doing that. And the thing is, I turned broadcasters down who, like, they'd be coming through town, but they didn't have the time, and they're like, "Hey, I'll do it over the phone, or I'll do it on Zoom." Back then, it was Skype before Zoom got to where it is now.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Look, I appreciate you saying that." I said, "But no, I value doing this in front of you." I said, "The next time you're in town, we'll do it." And I've turned down some bigger names. Chris Fowler, who actually went to the University of Colorado where I went.
Oh, geez, yeah.
He agreed to do it like this, and I told him no. I said I'd rather do this in person. And they understand, but how many people are going to tell those guys no, right? Like the big names like that. What you're saying, you don't want to do it this way, but I would rather not. So yeah,
you stick to it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very
no
much,
problem.
Sean, and I'll let you know when this posts again. And obviously, good luck down the home stretch here.
Yeah. Thank you. If you guys ever need anything else, just reach out and let me know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, no
That's
problem.
good to know. All right. Bye, Sean.
Thanks, Aaron. Bye.
I loved his insight. He responded really well, and I appreciated the thoroughness in which he responded to all of these. And again, glad to have him on, and special thanks. He's got something kind of in the works as well himself that he's had to put on hold, but it's the voice behind the voice, a podcast he started for, I think it was last year, I believe, and it's basically just interviewing fellow broadcasters alike.
Yeah, and it's nice to get the background, but it's getting those specifics just in how exactly different teams are handling. Because obviously, I mean, we talk about the NFL and the NBA, and like they obviously have a lot more people, they have a lot more resources, they have many more means of accomplishing their goal. But just seeing how like a smaller market team, like, I mean, 1,500 people, that's still a lot of people, man. And just being able just to see that they can still function, they can still get the fans in the seats, which is the most important thing at the end of the day. Yeah. And I don't know, it gives me hope because team. There was a long time where it's like, well, we're not gonna have sports. Well, now we're gonna have sports, but no fans. So the key to all this that he brought up in the interview was the fact that they've been the whole time conversing with our legislature. So they've been kind of in lockstep, just knowing what's going on there, being proactive,
to be able to get to this, to get to this point, which is great.
Which that's the best way to do it, because if you're compliant the whole way, I mean, your worst case scenario, you can apologize later, but if you're compliant, I mean, what are they going to do? And the thing is, it's being up front of it, just with all the policies, but also making sure that the fans are aware too. I mean, that's a big part of it, obviously too. But you know what? It helps to have dedicated fans. So props to St. Paul Saints, and many thanks to Mr. Aronson for taking his time to talk with us. That was a treat. Yeah. Okay. So now that we have the smart part, let's get to maybe some stupid stuff. The smart part of the show is finished. Now we're getting to the dumb stuff. Ace, what is our soundbite of the week?
So another topical thing for us in Minnesota, but Kirk Cousins had some comments on the Andrew Brandt podcast,
did.
10 questions. That on it, like I think people viewed it as being somewhat arrogant and not, know your position sort of thing. But I mean, he's truthful, so can't hate him on
You like
on
that?
too much. But
You like that?
yeah, let's take a listen to a recording from that.
If 1 is the person who says masks are stupid, you are all a bunch of lemmings, and 10 is I'm not leaving my master bathroom for the next 10 years, where do you land?
I'm not going to call anybody stupid for the trouble it could get me in, but I'm about a .0000001. Yeah.
Really? How come?
Yeah, I just, again, I want to respect what other people's concerns are, but for me personally, if you're just talking, no one else can get the virus. What is your concern if you could get it? I would say I'm going to go about my daily life. If I get it, I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to let nature do its course. Survival of the fittest kind of an approach, and just say, if it knocks me out, it knocks me out. I'm going to be okay. Even if I die, I kind of have peace about that. So that's really where I fall on it. So my opinion, wearing a mask and is really about being respectful to other people.
If we had more time, we could go on and on about what was said and dissect it word for word. But at the end of the day, I think he's a truthful guy, and I respect his honesty. And it's kind of like what Drew Brees got himself into hot water on.
Oh, yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's like, I honestly, it's actually a pretty good parallel to Grat. Just because they were innocent comments, like you can tell by his facial gestures, and like, he's not saying, like, trust me, I want every reason to dislike Cousins, but it seems very genuine, and it's like insensitive and ill-timed, definitely, but I get what he was saying. And honestly, I kind of nodded my head in agreement. I'm like, you know what, that, because like we've talked about this how many times, like these are the guys that are the healthiest, these guys are like the least, they're the people that are least at risk, right? So you have amazing physicians, you have all the resources that you could possibly want, because trust me, they're going to want their quarterback back on the field. For how much this guy's getting paid, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure he's okay.
Yes.
So I understand his candidness, and I don't know, it's kind of refreshing, we've talked about how nice it is to hear like actual player perspectives, like their own thoughts and feelings, as opposed to whatever the PR squad wrote up for him for their cue cards for the post-game interview. Like, it's nice to have, just real candid, like a real moment, actual words coming from their brains as opposed to their coaches. So I'm okay with it, but yeah, it was pretty hilarious actually, especially with all the reactions and people jumping overboard on social media as per usual.
Yeah. God, we need positivity.
Right. We're like so meta. We're so topical right now because Kirk Cousins and making fun of him is perfect to get us up to our tee-off topic this week. The most important topic of this week, Vikes and Green Bay week 1. The matchup that I honestly didn't think would come for a while, but we're mere days away from it.
I think we were both below 50%. If you were to ask us even a month, maybe even 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, if we thought something was going to get played. That's how on edge or just like questionable we thought the whole season was going to be. But it's good to see that they're here, and I'm excited for a Vikings win coming up.
After you guys got swept last year. Pretty sure we swept you last year. And honestly, I'm surprised that Dalvin Cook is, going to actually be able to put pads on, because he's not getting a new contract.
Give it a go.
Yeah. The thing is, I was really rooting for him just to sit out, just at least for week 1, because our front seven, like aside from Kenny Clark, it's significant. I think it's significantly worse. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I think you guys know the game plan, or at least what we're gonna be doing, and that's pounding the rock.
We all know Cousins can't throw. Looking at his stats from when he played GB last year, it wasn't great. Even at home, he threw 2 picks and only threw for 230 yards. So I can't imagine he's going to be doing a whole lot. But the thing is, you guys have who did you guys add? There's another running back you guys picked up too.
A running back?
Yeah.
Well, we have Madison and Boone. Amir Abdullah.
Yeah, he's the pass catcher now too.
Do you think Cousins is better than Garoppolo? Because I feel like we run similar offenses to them, where it's more play action based.
Yeah, and you both rely heavily on your defense getting the ball back, so that's why it's clock control, relying heavily on the defense, minimal throws, minimal errors. But the problem is when those turnovers happen, there's not a whole lot of recourse. Relying on big plays, I think too. I mean, that's why Diggs was such a hit and worked out pretty well for you guys. He's always was liable for that big play, right? Thielen was like the constant. He'd just feed him, and he'd just be able to make plays. Between the hash marks, but
yeah,
Garoppolo, it's hard to judge because how Ben Roethlisberger walked onto the Steelers like with just a cake setup.
Yeah,
that's how I feel Garoppolo. Like he barely had to do anything. Sat behind Tom Brady, played a few games, impressed. Got a massive, insane deal for how improving he was, and then just got to coast along. And then in the playoffs, I don't have his numbers handy, but I tell you, if you're throwing 8 passes and you're winning a game, especially the NFC Championship, you're not the MVP.
Yeah. No kidding.
I would put Cousins far above him because Cousins actually, I know that a lot of people troll and make fun of his inability to play in big games, but his numbers don't lie. Like, he's significantly better than Garoppolo in many, many ways. I think, especially from a leadership standpoint, because when the team is getting busted on, like, you actually can see his intensity. Whereas Garoppolo's really applying his mascara, and it's just like, he's good to look at, but I don't know. You don't really want him on the sideline.
What do you think the game plan for the Packers is? Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I was mentioning about just our front seven issues. So Mal Martin, the rookie linebacker that we picked up, actually did so well in training camp through the offseason that he was actually a projected starter alongside our new signing, Christian Kirksey. So he's on IR, probably won't be back for at least a month and a half. And Oren Burks, not totally sure if he's going to start because he's the only person that actually has experience on the team in that system. So probably going to be throwing a 7th round pick from 2 years ago, Ty Summers, in at starting linebacker. Yeah. Rashawn Gary, I mean, the thing is, it's like stopping the run's going to be difficult, but if the Packers offense can get off to a roll and they can get a few quick scores just to kind of keep their own tempo, I think if they can do that, I think they win. Because I can't see, if Cousins has to throw our pass rush, like, that's it. That's strong secondary and good pass rush. Like, if you go up the middle, I don't know. It's not looking good. If Cook can just start doing what he wants and the Minnesota O-line gets the normal push up front it normally does, I think he ran, opening the first game last year, I think he ran for $150.
The fact that they didn't really do much, the Packers, to shore up that defensive front, like
well, that's what I'm saying. Like, they actually let 2 starters go.
Yeah, that's got to make you mad.
Just in the front 7. Well, I was anti-McCarthy for quite a while, but he kept the team competitive. I mean, and you got to admit that the defense for the Packers has never been good. And I think I mentioned this to you before that at some point in my life, I want to die knowing that the Packers had like a top 10, a top 5 defense. Because they were known for their offense for literally my entire life.
Yeah.
They've had opportunistic defense where they created a lot of turnovers, got a lot of sacks. That's how we won the Super Bowl. But also they were top 10 in points per game allowed, yards allowed, just stuff like that. They're literally 10th place. 10th best.
They were exactly 10th? Oh, God.
Exactly 10th.
So before you die, you want to see them below, 1 to 9. You want to see them in that 9 or lower.
Would love to. Just because it's never happened. I honestly, I don't know if it's possible. I see all these other horrible, just terrible, like the Bengals for years were just so bad, but somehow their defense was top 10. You have just these really bad, or like the Bills, like just anemic on offense, but yet they had an amazing defense. Like I don't know how they're able to do it in the divisions that they're in, but yeah, it can happen in Green Bay.
the Vikings, that's almost the opposite of the Vikings in a way.
Look at our division, dude. The entire NFC North. The Bears, the Lions, the Vikings, they have all been known for their defense over their offense.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the time, if you're going to refer to a strength on those teams, it's going to be defense.
It's a complete opposite in a way.
Yeah, and I never understood it. We went through so many coordinators, several head coaches in my lifetime that I thought could get it done, and oof. Mike Pettin, I thought, dude, this is the guy. This is the dude. But
yeah.
and the thing is, he's made them better, but there's like, it doesn't matter what the stats are when the quarterback throws 8 passes and they get, what was it, like, I can't remember how many yards.
300 plus? Wasn't it 300 plus?
I don't want to know the exact number. That's not a number I need to know. But,
yeah,
it's brutal, bro. It's brutal.
I think it's weird too in that sense that overall the Vikings kind of have. I would say the Vikings have the best rounded team, but when you're playing in an empty stadium, it's like, what the... Especially as a home game, I know both sides are going to be coming up ready to play. That's not... not to take that away from them, but I just not...
Really? Even without preseason, you think they're just going to be good to go for a snap? Let's bump heads, let's go?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think they're going to be so jacked up, it's going to be insane. But who knows? I mean, because they're going to get through crap in pregame warm-ups and all that, so that's when they hopefully can get their minds right. But just not having the home field advantage, or the fans, I should say, there to provide that advantage.
Like we've been alluding to for most of the show, hopefully that's short-lived. So
yeah, that's true.
You know what? If you can get me in there and there's only 7,000 of us, I will make enough noise. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
I will make plenty of noise. Green Bay, you got me. Let's go.
What do you have for a prediction?
It's actually gonna be very close. Packers get off to an early lead. Vikings actually come back, tie it. Packers win by a field goal. I'm gonna say 27-24.
God, really?
There's gonna be some points just because the defenses are gonna be rusty. They haven't been able to play against another team. Yeah. There's gonna be more points scored than typical. I have to pick.
I'm gonna go
Packers,
30. So yeah, you're right. I'm going to go 31-20 Vikings.
Damn. All right, hold on. Let me write this down. This is going to have to be worth something here. 31-20.
I had to go a little bit off the... God, that seems like an odd score, but we'll see.
It's not too odd. I mean, and you guys won't be scoring touchdowns. You'll be kicking field goals, so that makes sense.
Well, and I'm nervous with our secondary if our front four can't get at Rodgers, because they're going to protect him well.
Fortunately for you, the one addition we made at wide receiver opted out, so don't you worry. Don't you worry, buddy.
That's my one hope there, is that he really has nobody to throw it to again, except for A. Adams or D. Adams.
What did I say? 27-24? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 27-24.
Right. We'll make that a thing. All right, we got to keep moving on here. These people have been listening for far too long. Let's hit it. Let's finish this up with Ace's Quick Six. We can send these people on their way.
Oh my gosh, that's right. This is a long one. All right.
Phrasing.
We're playing, it's called Who He Play For Running Back Edition. And let's kick it off first with Devontae Booker. Who he play for now?
Oh no, you're going to do this to me?
I kind of want to, yeah, this is another, so if you get, because it's 6, if you get, I want you to get over 50%.
No Googling allowed? Obviously.
Yeah, duh.
Wow. AFC. I was gonna make up a team. Chargers. I don't know.
You were close. Las Vegas. So you had it right.
Okay. Talk to me about relevant teams. All right, next one.
The Raiders. Frank Gore. He's still playing.
Ooh. Oh, I actually know this. Dolphins.
Ooh, man, the Jets.
No. Oh, damn it. Division. I got the division.
Yep, you got the division twice. Next one, J.D. McKissick.
Oh, God. What?
I tried to go off the board because dude. I know.
You're just trying to expose me for every time I call you out when you say a player's name wrong or you get their team wrong. When you said Jonathan Taylor was on whatever team and he was on the Colts.
I had to go
Or when you didn't know that a player wasn't on the Vikings anymore. This is mean. You're mean. Respect, though. I have no idea. Broncos.
No, sorry. Washington.
Hey.
This one, okay, Deion Lewis. He's at least played.
Patriots for a while, Titans long time, now on the Steelers.
The Giants.
Yeah, I'm not going to get these, bro.
What about Matt Breida? You already said I'll give you a clue. You already said the team.
Oh, I'm just going to Google this so I feel better about myself. Miami Dolphins.
All right, last. So what do you got? 2 or 4? One up. That's right. Dwayne Washington, the last one.
Oh my god.
Does that name? Oh god, maybe this was a lot harder.
This is terrible. This is terrible. Especially since I did a half of a fantasy league this year. I'm literally just gonna make up a team. I'm gonna say the Rams.
Sorry, not the Rams. It is. I need a New Orleans.
Okay. Well, that was fun. Thank you for that. I appreciate the embarrassment. It's always good to eat some humble pie. All right, long episode. Thank you guys for listening. That is all we have. If you're not already following us, please do on Twitter at a podcast. I actually posted a beautiful link that has literally every directory that we are in, every platform that we are on. Please feel free to check it out. If you're not already subscribed, liking, commenting, reviewing, please do so. Also available on YouTube. And I want to give another thanks to Sean Aronson for the interview. Much appreciated. He actually also has a podcast, which was plugged earlier. But feel free to give him a peep. He is a very talented young man and could definitely use some love. So The Voice Behind the Voice is the name of the podcast, and I will share a link on our Twitter. So please reach out. Ace, are we good? Can we go home?
We can go home. You can do what you gotta do.
No, I'm watching my Bucks. Hopefully, maybe fight for some relevancy. It won't matter by the time you guys hear this, but you can hear the sense of urgency in my voice that I'm very, very distraught. So,
go Bucks.
All right, guys. Go Bucks, baby. All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. Don't care how you do it, as long as you are here. I'm Ace. Nope, I'm Johnny. That's Ace. And we're out.